Hello, good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome to Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Undine Young. Any pronouns are fine. And I'm grateful to be here. Please rise and body your spirit for gathering song 166, Years Are Coming. This was written by 19th century Universalist Adin Ballou. 166, gathering song, Years Are Coming.
Good morning, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. My pronouns are she and her, and so many of you have already made me very happy by saying coming to church more is one of your New Year's resolutions, so thanks. So wonderful, not only for me, but for other people here as well. So for those of you who are visiting or returning, we've got some returning visitors here today. Welcome. We're so glad you've come back and are here with us this morning. And I just want to remind everybody that we have this space in the sanctuary. We also, during these cold and sometimes rainy months, have our space in the Borton Hall for those who would like a little more space around them as we continue in the season of contagious things. And we, of course, are welcoming everybody on our live stream. So welcome, everybody, on our live stream as well. We're so glad that you're here. I think that my dear colleague has already given you some special instructions about some things that are coming up later. So if you are on our live stream, we'll have a special 15-minute welcome, and maybe you can actually share a little bit about something we'll be doing together right after the service, if you can do that, just a word or two. And we hope that if you're visiting us, you'll sign a visitor's card online. If you're here and you haven't done that yet, we hope you'll complete one in our Borton Hall afterward. Next Saturday is our Connecting You and MDUUC, which is our introductory conversation. And we would love to have you come if you have questions about who we are, what we believe, and how we live those beliefs. And today, after the service, we will be meeting probably right either inside or outside the sanctuary, depending on whether it warms up at all, for those who are ready to make the commitment of membership. And we'll have a signing of the book today after the service. So if you are in need of a listening ear today, I know we have at least one of our pastoral visitors with us today. You can identify them. They'll be standing up here near our bowl during our offertory, and they also are wearing a caring listener tag. So please keep an eye out if a listening ear would be helpful. This Tuesday evening, we will be holding a learning conversation on Israel and Palestine, and it will be held both here in the sanctuary and also online as well. It's in a hybrid format, an important issue for us to discuss as a people. And there are also signups for community circles that are beginning. The circles will begin in a couple weeks. The signups begin today, and we will also be including, so you can learn more about those. Next weekend is our annual special concert with John McCutcheon, which is a favorite for many. It's a little earlier than we usually see John for us, so I didn't want it to catch anyone unaware. And tickets will be slightly limited for that because of reducing our numbers because of the space and health concerns. So please do go ahead and purchase them if you want to come. Finally, welcome to this beloved community.
Akimashite omedeto, y'all. Some of my ancestors came from southern Japan. Happy New Year. I'm Mark David Watanabe, a member of your Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are he and him. Welcome to our service today. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community. We begin our services by reading our mission together. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. Okay, here comes the health advisory, but first, by a show of hands, how many among you, raise your hand if you either know somebody or you yourself have in the recent weeks caught COVID-19, RSV, the flu, or a really bad cold? Oh my gosh, look at that. All right, so things are getting pretty hairy, as you can imagine, so we are going to be asking folks to really seriously consider to take the time to use hand sanitizer when you come in to church and enter our spaces, and also seriously consider masking more until we get out of this post-holiday surge. A reminder, as Reverend Leslie already mentioned, that for the most vulnerable in our community, we still have that space in Borton Hall for people to watch services. It's not in the cold and rainy outside, but at least there'll be a little more space surrounding you. Please also participate, I think some people already have, in our e-waste drive, which will be open until 2 p.m. today for drop-offs, and consider taking a flyer, as you can also arrange for home pickup if you have a computer to donate. This is an example of living out our values, and a chance to make a small contribution to MDUUC. Again, welcome. It's good to be here, start 2024 in community.
Well, in the spirit of two things, this is our time for welcoming one another and exchanging greetings. And we are marking today in this service honoring the Japanese tradition of Oshugatsu, or the New Year's traditions. And in the spirit of the transmittable things that are around after the holiday, I invite you to do an elbow bump with somebody and wish them a Happy New Year, keeping in mind that we do this not to say we think that it already is, but that we want to work to make it the best year it can be. Thank you. Let's exchange greetings.
I'd like to invite those who are young and young at heart to come forward for a mindful moment. Me, I have the lyrics. This one's for you. Good morning. Well, today I want to invite you all to reflect on things that we can do and commit to in the new year. And I've asked my friend Ariana Reed to help me teach everybody a song where we can start to ask ourselves some of those questions about what we might want to commit to for the new year. So this song is called What Can We Do to Make the World a Better Place? And we're going to sing it for you once all the way through, and then we're going to teach it to you. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. What can we do to make the world a better place? What can we do to make it better? What can we do? Oh, what can we do? What can we do to make it better? Clean up our own mess. Clean up our own mess. Recycle the good stuff. Dispose of the bad stuff. Clean up our own mess. Love your sibling. Love your family. Love one another. That's what we all can do. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to sing a sentence, and I want you all to sing it back. So this is a repeat after me song. Oh my gosh, we can do way better than that. This is a repeat after me song.
This is a repeat after me.
What can we do to make the world a better place? What can we do to make the world a better place? What can we do to make it better? Do make it better. What can we do? Oh, what can we do? What can we do? Oh, what can we do? What can we do to make it better? What can we do to make it better? Now, this is the part where you all laughed, right? We're going to clean up. Clean up our own mess. 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 Clean up our own mess.
Clean up our own mess.
Recycle the good stuff, dispose of the bad stuff. Clean. All right. Recycle the good stuff, dispose of the bad stuff. Clean up our own mess. Clean up our own mess. Now, this is the last verse. Love your siblings. Love your siblings. Love your family. Love your family. Love one another. Love one another. That's what we all can do. That's what we all can do. Now, all together, one more time, what can we do to make the world a better place? We're going to sing that verse one more time, and I want you to be thinking about what you can do to make the world a better place or to transform yourself. And we're going to ask those questions again when we come back to our time for all ages. So one more time, all together. What can we do to make the world a better place? What can we do to make it better? What can we do? Oh, what can we do? What can we do to make it better? Thank you.
For Oshogatsu, we offer this haiku by Lucy King. New Year atmosphere, such unexpected moment, lost yet found again.
I want to invite all of us. We're going to move over to the column over here. So all of my friends who are sitting up here, I actually want you to come with me over here and come gather over by our column. Come sit around here. Awesome. Let's sit crisscross applesauce. So I was thinking about the ritual that we did last week, where we were releasing things from the last year. And I was thinking about today being our first Sunday of the new year. And I was thinking about the word commitment. Does anybody have any ideas about what the word commitment might mean? Atticus.
Even if it's hard, you're just dedicated and you're not going to give up no matter what.
Ooh, I like that. Does anybody else have any other ideas about what commitment might mean? What do we think? Well, Reverend Leslie taught me about the Latin root word of com, meaning together. And so that made me think about what could we do as a community or as our family unit or as our friend group, what could we commit to together for the new year? And when I ask about commitments for the new year, am I asking about passing video game levels? No. Am I asking about beating new levels of board games or winning races at school? No. What do you guys think? What might be some good commitments that we could think about that might help us improve our lives or the lives of the people around us? Does anybody have some ideas about those kinds of commitments? And this does not have to be limited to just the people sitting around me. I want everybody to take the opportunity to reflect. And I would love some volunteers that can either be the people who are sitting up here or people who are out in the audience that would be willing to share one commitment that you would like to have for the new year. And when you share that commitment, I'm going to ask you to share it into the microphone and grab one of these stones and drop it into this lower column here. So if you are somebody that would like to share a commitment, grab a stone, come stand over here with me, and I'll hand the microphone to you. You can share your commitment into the microphone. And if you'd like to just drop the stone, that's also okay. Do you want to share? No. Okay, you can just drop the stone. Etta, would you like to share your commitment?
To my parents finishing my chores so I can get the can rescue done.
Yes, finishing chores are very important. Does anybody else have a commitment they want to share?
Reading more?
Reading more? Great. Do you want to share one?
Saying no when people tell me to stop. Saying yes when people tell me to stop.
I like that correction.
Having the best life of my life.
I want to commit to making space to listen more. I'm going to drop a stone in for that. Is there anybody else who would like to drop in a stone? Yeah, you can do one and not say anything. Awesome. And then ZJ, would you put in one more for all the ones that didn't get said? Did you want to say one?
Let us not just offer thoughts and prayers, but let us commit to doing something concrete to end wars around the world.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing the children to their activities.
Let me live each day with intention. Let me know true spirit as my guide. Let me touch the pulse of the world's great heart. Let me glimpse the mystery of its soul.
Well, that was very sweet. Hi, my name is Travis McPhee, and my pronouns are he and him and his. In certain sects of Buddhism, the new year is ushered in with 108 bell rings. For instance, in the Zen tradition, the Bonsho bell, this large hanging bell, is rung 108 times. As I lived for a few years at a Zen monastery, I remember the ringing of the bell at Gringotch and how long it would take. Why do Buddhists ring a bell 108 times? This is because in Buddhism, the number 108 represents all of our worldly desires. Over years of contemplation and refinement, some Buddhist sects have come to calculate that all our worldly desires can be reduced to 108 renunciations. In Buddhism, it is believed that these worldly desires should be renounced because they cause unnecessary pain and suffering. The bell is rung so that upon our hearing it, these worldly desires will vanish one by one, and the pains that they cause will vanish with them, bringing in a new year that is fresh and free from suffering at the start. Now, the word renunciation can be a little challenging for me. It doesn't always sit well. It may feel like a word that asks us to dislike ourselves or deny ourselves. While there is danger in this, I think of renunciation a bit differently. Instead, it can be about letting go of things that are no longer serving us. Sometimes we need certain patterns at one point in our life. Maybe those traits or patterns help us get through particularly hard points. Maybe it was a time when we had fewer options. And then circumstances can change, and we may no longer need to rely on those patterns anymore. They may even be harmful to us now. For me, it's important to choose to relate to that kind of renunciation. A kind of renunciation that is freeing from unnecessary burdens that I hold on to, especially those vestiges of a time gone by. So I think renunciation can be about contemplating what is holding us back and letting those things consciously go. It can be an intention to open to the present moment and to not just be stuck in the past. Overall, I think of renunciation as letting go of all the extra things that get in the way of appreciating and experiencing ourselves fully. Though I have spent time practicing Japanese Buddhism, I am not a Buddhist priest. So as Reverend Leslie and I enact this version of the renunciation ritual, please keep in mind we are doing so to honor and appreciate this practice, which has its roots in Buddhism. I'm going to read a selection from the 108 Worldly Desires. Please consider if any of these are states or traits you would like to consider letting go of as we move into a new year. Here are a few. Ostentatiousness, grudge, ingratitude, humiliation, lying, negativity, furtiveness, unkindness, pessimism, disrespectfulness, hard-heartedness, ambition, dominance, contempt, manipulation, excessiveness, oppression, hypocrisy, conceitedness, self-hatred, violence, deception, mercilessness, tyranny, obsession, greed, hatred, and delusion. I invite you to continue to meditate upon which of these are no longer serving you. As Reverend Leslie rings the bell, feel free to let them go with the chimes. Reverend Leslie is now going to ring the bell 108 times.
body or spirit for Almond Trees, Renewed in Bloom, number 59. This is by noted Vietnamese composer Nguyen Duc Thuan. I have family and friends who are Chinese Vietnamese, so we have a lot of similar traditions, and I'm looking forward to singing with this with you, Almond Trees.
Almond trees renewed in bloom, do they not proclaim life returning year by year, love that will remain? Almond blossom, sign of life in the face of pain, raises hope in people's hearts. Spring has come again. Gorgeous such a thousandfold, hatred scars the earth. But the day when almonds bloom is a time of birth. Let's give thanks for almond blooms, sailing in the wind. Open the that the gift of life triumphs in the end.
Now is the time in our service where we come together to bear witness to those joys and sorrows that are too great for any one of us to hold alone. If you've written in our book of joy and sorrows today, please come forward as I light, or as Reverend Leslie lights a candle, and I read your entry. And the first here is from Phoenix. It's a candle of joy, found after a year, a very stable job. Sally Edgerton is asking for a candle of joy to be lit for Peggy Kroll and her amazing care in getting Sally to and from the hospital and being with her through the recent procedure that Sally underwent. She writes, "A true and caring friend." Reverend Leslie is lighting a candle of joy to honor our student chaplain, Travis McPhee, and his completion of the requirements for his Master of Divinity. Though graduation will be held later, this is an important milestone that we should mark and celebrate. Reverend Leslie's also asking for a candle of concern to be lit for Ted Rogers, who's really not feeling well, and his community where he lives is having a large COVID outbreak. If you know Ted and can send a card, please drop it either at church or send it to the Windsor Rosewood Care Center. Reverend Leslie's also asking for a candle of healing to be lit for Sally Edgerton, who is at home recovering from surgery. She welcomes cards and good wishes for healing. And I'm asking for 2 final candles to be lit, the first representing all of the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts and have not been voiced today. And the second, a reminder of this imperfect but precious world and our role in making it more loving and more just.
Please stay seated for the meditation song, 177, Sakura. Sakura is a song very popular in Japanese folk song from Edo period, 17th century. It's so popular that it's used by Japanese and international events and now in some electronic crosswalks as guidance music. So let us sing some guidance music. Phonetic Japanese.
Sakura, Sakura, yayoi no sora wa miwatasu kagiri nasu
I invite you to join me in the spirit of meditation this morning and reflection on the truths of our lives. As Travis already said, in the Japanese tradition, the temple bell rings 108 times, but the first 8 times are to ring out the old year, and the 100 times that follow ring in the new. So let us take a moment again to consider that which we wish to leave in the year behind us. On the list of renunciations or banos is indifference, perhaps sarcasm, perhaps cynicism. Perhaps it is understating or not acknowledging our own power. We could meet the new year with these, or we could meet it with something else, with awareness, with curiosity, with commitment. Commitment is, as Marina said, from the root together, but also the idea of being dedicated to a cause, to an activity, to a vision of the world. And it doesn't have to be one that we think we'll see in our lifetime. It is the action of devoting ourselves to something or someone beyond ourselves. That's that root, the togetherness root. As we enter into this 2024, we know there is much to mourn and fear, and there is also much to yearn and desire. So, how can our commitments be fueled by curiosity? Curiosity about what it is that we can continue to understand, continue to know in a new way, continue to enact in our own lives, while maintaining that important Buddhist non-attachment to outcomes, still entering in with our best selves, with the best of our minds, the commitments of our very beings, and of our spirits. Each moment, we have the commitment. Each moment, we have the choice. Let us be curious about how we will choose to enter this year.
Cheat somebody, get low or get high. So come on, all you people with 2 feet on the Hello. My name is Andrew Oswald, and I serve on your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. This is our first MDUUC service of 2024, so Happy New Year. The turning of the calendar for many people represents hope, opportunity, and resolutions which don't always last. In the current state of the world and country, it can also represent fear and uncertainty, with an election year, wars around the world, and climate change ever present. I am choosing to focus on hope and possibilities today. There's still a lot of good work and amazing things happening all around us, including here at MDUUC. The theme of today's service is curiosity. With curiosity comes gratitude. And with gratitude, I'm looking to give, and hope you are as well. The easiest way to give is if you are joining us remotely and by going to mduuc.org in your web browser, clicking on the Give Now button, and following the instructions from there. For those of you in person, you can also give directly to the ushers as you are so moved as they come around. All giving is welcome, no matter how large or small. Thank you. And now let us dedicate our offerings with the words on the screen. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
We're going to sing Auld Lang Syne, first in Japanese and then in English. The Japanese translation is not exactly the words that are used in the English version. The Japanese version is translated by light of fireflies, the sight of snow from the window, buried in books, we spend days together. Without notice, years have gone by. Now we open the door, and this morning we say goodbye. This song is used at graduations and also at the end of the year in Japan. When we sing it in English, please join in.
Thanking again the wonderful ukulele gifts today. We have had a gift of many, many beautiful musical offerings today. I appreciate that so much. That rogue called love has taken to his heels. On snowy nights, how cold in bed it feels. We might agree with the words of haiku writer Jakushi in the seventh day of this new 2024. What a blessing it is that it's cold and damp, right? I know I, for one, did not leap out of bed this morning. And I actually wanted to have our wonderful guests and our wonderful members play the various versions of Auld Lang Syne before this message, because it's important to recognize that while we have these symbolic occasions, we always have the opportunity to recommit. It is something that can go on long after the holidays end. In the Japanese tradition of Oshugachu, which does extend through the month of January technically, though it's concentrated on the first 3 days, one of the things you're supposed to be prepared with, for example, is, as the children's song said, a good and clean house. all those little corners with the dust mice, all of those are supposed to be done by January 1st. And guess what? If it didn't happen, it's still not a bad thing to do. Talking to myself here is all I'm saying. Perhaps every new year we have that feeling of it being some of this and some of that, some regret for what is now behind us and some apprehension for what is before us. But as we have already heard mentioned several times, I think this year we may be feeling a little bit more of that. The scale is tipped a bit. Though we do have these rituals that we observe at the very beginning of the year, it's important to remember that even in a year like this, we want to have some way to reconnect with our aspirations, to recommit with the vision of the world that we think can be. It's interesting that in Japan, though many may go no other time, 70% of the population still reports going to the first shrine visit of the year on New Year's Day, 70% of the population. It's similar, I think, to those of us who observe other holidays like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. It's nice to see some of you back after those days. It brings us to another haiku, this time from Buson. Observations about winter. Denied a lodging for the night, the row of lights from houses standing in the snow. To me, this also has the overtones of the nativity. It speaks to the extremes in the human condition that we are feeling so strongly as we start this 2024. Again, in the light of all of this, we may find talk of ceremony, intention, and commitment almost trivial. And yet, it's important for us to consider. For these rituals also commit us and recommit us to the cycles of the natural year. Perhaps you resonate this morning more with the words of another haiku by Shiki, who wrote centuries ago, "My ears had found the sermon dull and stale, but in the woods outside, the nightingale." Some things don't change, and no matter what the tradition, for I believe that was about a Buddhist setting. In this new year, we know that we need more than luck. We need more than just something that helps us get through 1 or 2 days. We need something that reminds us that there is something larger than whatever it is that's tallying itself in the tragic wars, in the earthquake in Japan on New Year's Day itself, the subsequent crash, lost more life, in the continued news of unrest and extremism in our nation and in our own daily challenges in health and hope. So perhaps this is more about the masks of unawareness and intention, and it's more about our need to make the most of the opportunities we do have before us every day. Look at this day in particular, one of great beauty. A great deal has been said in recent years about the inadequacy of intention. Intention cannot be used as a shield to excuse thoughtless behavior or as a source of false security or a false defense for behavior which we might otherwise be held accountable. We all make mistakes. Just was alerted to one last night. But taking a moment, for whatever reason we're given, in this case, the starting of a new year, to recognize what we want in our life, in the spirit of the song One Day, in the spirit of the words that we opened with in our gathering song, which were words from our spiritual ancestor, Universalist Aidan Ballou, who wrote that very utopian vision in the context of the Civil War. It does not mean that intention is unimportant, and it does not mean that we do not have the resources to reach beyond our own needs and wants, to give ourselves the chance to imagine that we could do something that would actually touch another life. We have so much that we want in this world. We have so much that we hope will be. When Baloo wrote, "Though few of us might imagine, years are coming when forever war's dread's banner shall be furled, and the angel peace be welcomed, regent of a happy world," it was not in a utopian time, just as our time is not. Yet he kept that vision in his heart, and he did what he could to make it real in the world, and he inspired others, including Tolstoy, who inspired Mahatma Gandhi, and then the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That was the same man. Maybe it's important for us just to remember that in each year we have our own ability to make our choices about what we wish to do. Perhaps in the spirit of Octavia Butler, we can think about what we want to make. Hers is not a haiku, but it could be. She said, "What we do not see, we assume can't be." What a destructive assumption. So in the spirit of growth and the curiosity of learning, in the movement towards that which we know in our hearts could be, but though we have not known it yet, let us all commit to being more aware, not only of our own power and agency, but of the things happening in our world that we wish to look away from. For it's important for us to enter this new year with curiosity and with commitment, even if that means also with heartbreak. So I invite you to think for a few moments, because I'm going to ask you to do something in a minute. I'm going to ask you to think about what you are curious about. What is the longing to understand in your particular heart? And what is a commitment that you are willing to make? Not because it will change the world and make everything right, but because it will change your life. This is one more haiku, this one from Mokoin. Ah, but for the heart whose winter knew no doubt, the white plum blossoms, first to venture out. So at the end of the rows, for those of you on the two aisles on the outside, under your seat, there are some slips of paper and a yellow cord on the, not if you're in the middle row, don't worry, Sonia, you're on the middle row. Those other people over there have to do the work. So if you can see some, there's some under you, even if you're on the outsides, if you're on those rows, and if you can see someone that could use some help getting the ones that are under them, you could help with that. Because what I'm going to ask you to do is to pass those things to the person next to you. But as you do that, don't just do it like this. I want you to take a moment and look into the eyes of that person next to you and hand them that slip of paper and one of those cords. And then we'll do something else. But let's take a moment for that. To really look, if you're not sitting next to someone, move someplace where you can sit a little closer to someone. But really see the other people. The commitment and community come from the same word. And let us begin this year with the knowledge not only of our own power to act, but our power to act together with others of good heart. And if as you are passing that, there's someone sitting to your other side, I invite you, as you are thinking about what word you might write on this paper, which you don't have to do right now, to just look to your other side and meet the eyes or the gaze, if that's comfortable for you to do so. And for those of you online, we're inviting you just to type your name into the chat so we know that you're present with us on our YouTube channel. But look into the eyes of the person to the other side of you as well. When we leave this space, there are pens in the hall and there are circles of chairs. And if you'd like to sit with someone and just say what your commitment is to some other human being, you can do that. And if you want to just take it in your own heart, you can do that too. But let us remember, again, that this is the world that we co-create together.
Embody your spirit for the closing song, Building a New Way, 1017, written by Work of the Weavers member Martha Sandifer. And if once you know it's the style of the Weavers, it makes perfect sense to be a bit bluesy, a bit folksy, a bit repetitive, and a lot justice-oriented.
Can we just say a word for our Bill and Brett? And Scott. And Scott. Thank you, Scott. Curiosity. Compassion. Commitment. Community. As we extinguish the flame of our chalice, let us take these out into this beautiful and hurting world.